Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy. And for all of my US friends, happy Thanksgiving week. And I thought, what a amazing time to really focus on gratitude. Now, I don't want to be like super cliche about like, okay, like what are we all thankful for? But I really do want to tie this back into the conversations that we've been having here inside the show over the last couple of weeks about manifesting, specifically manifesting consistent 10K plus months without overthinking, without burnout, to be able to live our lives of freedom with way more joy, way more ease, way more flow. And if you guys have been listening over the last couple of weeks, you know that we've been talking about the very first step of the 4 steps of manifesting, which is stay in high vibrations. Now, what the heck does that have to do with gratitude? I'm going to tell you everything. So let's get to it. I'm going to first just dive into a little bit of a recap on why the heck do we care about high vibrations? Why do we care about gratitude? Why do we care about any of this stuff? And so many of the people that I talk to, so many of the listeners of the show, so many of my clients are just really honestly stuck with the hustle, and they're stuck with the burnout, and they're really seeing their life and all the tasks and the heaviness on their plates as further away from what they thought they would have by now. And sometimes it's really hard to be grateful for it because it's like, oh my gosh, Lachelle, like you don't understand. I've just been busting my butt. Like I'm working full time. I have a family. I have this business. I just want to be able to leave my job or whatever the case may be. And it's just a lot. And so if we want to manifest consistent 10K plus months with more ease and joy, we really do have to harness the power of the 4 main steps to manifesting. Okay. And that first one is to stay in high vibes, because of the law of vibration, the law of attraction. And when we allow the electrons in our body to rotate in a frequency that is consistent with the things in life that we want, we allow for that entanglement to happen. We allow for the things, the people, the circumstances, the conversations, the ideas that are in the same vibrational alignment with that to start to come into our sphere of influence. It's so freaking cool. I got to just tell you guys this. When it comes to law of vibration and law of attraction, it's like people will tell me all the time, Lachelle, this has existed, but I just never saw it before. Or this person lived down the street, but we had never met before. Or, I can't believe that I didn't think about this sooner. It's because you weren't in the energetic match to it. And that the thing that is going to change your life, the thing that is going to completely catapult your business into more ease and flow and without all the pressure already exists. It's just that you haven't been at the energetic alignment with it yet. And so the moment that you can start to get yourself, your body, your electrons at the vibration of that thing, the things will start to come into your sphere of influence. And you're like, oh my gosh, like this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. But in order for you to do that, you have to be able to get your body and the cells in your body and your atoms in that higher vibration. How do you do that? Remember that our thoughts are what create our actions. Our thoughts are what create our feelings. Our feelings are what create our actions, and our actions are what are creating our results, right? And our feelings are what scientists have been able to attribute to the speed in which our electrons are rotating, right? And the speed is going to indicate the vibration of ourselves and its alignment with the things that we want. Now, one of my absolute favorite tools when it comes to the measurement of this frequency, the vibration of our body and its association with feelings, is the emotional vibrational code and the emotional vibrational scale. And I learned this from several different sources. I know Abraham Hicks was one of them. The Course in Miracles is another. Gabby Bernstein is another. Like lots of different sources that have brought me to this space of being able to recognize it. And then when I go in and I geek out on the science part of it and realize that MIT scientists have been able to essentially prove scientifically that this is substantiated, it's like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense, right? And so if you have not seen this before, go ahead and check out the workbook on my website for Get Out of God's Way, or go ahead and grab my book, because I have a copy of that inside of my book. And I teach that to my Spiral Up clients as well. But one of the things that you're going to notice is that the scale has listed several different emotions, okay, and the vibrational measurement of those emotions. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's just say that I'm feeling hopeless or helpless or a victim, or I'm feeling a lot of shame or guilt. I am literally vibrating slower. I am vibrating at a lower frequency, like 20 hertz, like low frequency. In fact, I find myself when I'm talking about these low vibrations, when I'm talking about these feelings, I literally can feel my voice getting lower and slower. Okay. However, when I look at the top of the scale, which is love, joy, peace, gratitude, freedom, I find myself talking faster. My voice is a little bit higher because the electrons in my body are actually rotating faster. I have a higher frequency. My vibration is alignment with a hertz of 700 or more. Then there's a scale of everything in between, right? So if you look at the scale, you'll notice that, for example, anger is higher than hopelessness. So the vibration is faster. And one of the things that Gabrielle Bernstein says is that if you can just get yourself to move up the scale, and you can be at a higher vibration than you were with the thought and feeling right before that, you are going to move yourself up to where you want to go, and therefore going to be able to have yourself aligned with the things of the frequencies that you want. Okay. Now, I think that's really helpful. Like if I can, even I think about, the stages of grief that we've learned about, and anger, is actually healthier than this hopelessness and this depression. And it's so fascinating how different things in psychology and different phases of science have been able to essentially all come in and align itself with this. So if I can just move myself up to those different emotions through the thoughts that I think, I'm able to get myself further from what I don't want and closer to what it is that I do want. Now, one of the things that I think is really interesting in this scale is that if you look at the top, you're going to find something that is the inspiration to this entire episode today, which is appreciation or gratitude. Meaning that if I'm in a place of gratitude or appreciation, I am literally vibrating as fast as I can. It is the highest, emotion that is associated with a hertz of 700 plus. And I think it's so cool when we think about this appreciation and this gratitude, because it is so consistent with what Jesus teaches us in scripture, and how we're reminded over and over again to have, gratitude for all things in all times, in all places, to have, to present each day with thanksgiving, a thankful heart, all the things. It's like he's telling us the secrets that we need to know to manifest the life that he has for us. He's telling us the secrets to living and experiencing heaven on earth. I've shared this before, that if we look at even just the Lord's Prayer, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. He's telling us that we can actually experience heaven on earth. And it is in our thoughts that have the feelings associated with love, joy, peace, and gratitude that allow for us to experience heaven on earth, to allow for us to experience joy and peace and love and gratitude in the midst of any circumstance. That is true heaven. That is true heaven on earth. And one of the fastest ways that I have been able to experience a shift in my emotions, a shift in my vibrational level, is with gratitude, was with appreciation. And one of the interesting things that I found years ago was through the book, The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor, where he talked about how you cannot be anxious and grateful at the same time. And I thought, isn't that interesting? But he is totally right. And I started to utilize things that he suggested in my dinner time routine with my family. So if the kids came and they were anxious about something or stressed out about something, I would have them actually shift their perspective and tell me what are they grateful for. And because we can't be anxious and grateful at the same time, all of a sudden everything shifted for them. And I could literally watch their vibration change. And all of a sudden they were able to see things differently and they were able to experience the day differently. And then because we know that the law of attraction and vibration works, more good things were able to essentially align with them. And so if we think about that, wherever you're anxious in life, whatever you have going on, if you can allow the power of gratitude to be your secret sauce, to shoot you to the top of the vibrational scale, it can make all the difference. And so one of the things that I think is really, really impactful is to be able to do that in the midst of anything, right? And if you can look at your circumstances, whether you don't have the physical health that you want, or the financial circumstance that you want, or the relationships in your life that you want, if you can find a way to be grateful for not only the other things that you have in your life, but for the things that are necessarily stealing your joy, guess what? You can shift your perspective into getting in alignment with God. This is kind of almost like me asking the Lord to take me into a higher perspective where I can see the thing from his perspective and his advantage point instead of mine. And I can start to see again that everything is perfectly perfect, that I am able to use the contrast of the situation to know what I don't want, or to be able to have the contrast of the situation help me to appreciate even more when things are going my way. If I was never sick, do you think that I would appreciate the health? If it was never rainy or cloudy or stormy, would I appreciate the blue skies? I live in Minnesota. I got to tell you that I spend like most days working from outside on this beautiful little swing that I put in my backyard that overlooks my yard, because I know that our nice days in Minnesota are numbered. And I'm able to get out there and I'm able to experience things. But why? Because of the contrast. And so when you can start to look for and be in gratitude for the people in your life that are hard to deal with because they are helping you to heal something inside of you that needs to be healed. Or you thank the people in your life that are hard to deal with because you're helping to acknowledge what you're worth and who you want to surround yourself with. Or you allow for the job that you don't want to be in and you're in gratitude because you start to realize that, man, I really do want to leave and do this thing that I've been wanting to do. Even something as simple as finding great things to be grateful for in the middle will shift, even if you can't quite go to the big parts, right? So let's just say that I remember when I was working full time and I'm like so desperately wanted to be able to replace my income. So I was busting it, right? Like doing all the things, hustling for the sake of hustling to try to get my side gig to replace my full-time gig, right? And I was burnt out and I was frustrated. I'm like, oh, I just want this to take off so that I can just leave. But then I realized, like, I remember riding the elevator up one day because I was on the 15th floor. And I'm like, I ride this elevator up, every day. And every single day, a new person gets on this elevator that I've never seen before. Like, I am exposed to new people every single day. And who knows if that person that's getting on that elevator is the person that's going to change everything for me. Or I recognized I had gratitude for the fact that because I was working full time, I was way more productive than what I was when I felt like I had all the time in the world. The more busy I was, the more intentional and organized I became, the more I accomplished. But the less busy I was, the more I just kind of frivolously, lost my focus and I didn't get as much done. Be in gratitude for what you have. Be in gratitude for the fact that the things that you are experiencing are leading towards other blessings. It's really amazing when you start to look for the silver lining in things. You start to ask God for his perspective on things, and you start to realize how everything is working out for your good, that things are happening for you, not to you. And that the more that you can allow for that realization to come in, the more that you get to stay at a higher vibration, the more that your thoughts and feelings align energetically with the things in your life that you want. The other thing that I want to bring up is this beautiful concept of gratitude and the law of assumption and the law of attraction and energetics, because this is going to be a game changer for some of you guys who have already kind of mastered this skill of being able to be thankful for things, even though they're crappy, right? This is going to take you like the 2.0 section of your life when you can be in gratitude instead of having gratitude. There's a difference. Now, let me explain this, okay? Somebody once, made me realize, like, I love science and I love all things personal development, but I also have this like really goofy side of me, and I just like having fun. That's my Enneagram 7 in me, I think. But I think it's hilarious to watch old movies from the early 2000s and 90s and whatever. I love Will Ferrell. Like, he's one of my favorite because it's just stupid comedy, right? And one of my favorite movies is Anchorman because it's just got amazing one-liners. Like, I have a friend of mine who the two of us had an entire weekend where we didn't even have a real conversation. It was just moving lines back and forth with each other, and it was so much fun. And so anyway, in this movie, there's a scene where Ron Burgundy is with his little buddies at the news station, and he's talking about being in love. And his buddies are like, Ron, what does it feel like to be in love? And he's like, it's like sky rockets in flight. And he starts, breaking out into the song, right? And all of them start to, in this a cappella, scene, start singing out this sky rockets in flight song, right? Like, describing what it's like to be in love. And Brick, one of the characters in this scene, he's kind of, um, let's just say that he things don't always click with him, right? Like, he's just a little slow. And he's like, I love lamp. I love lamp. And they're like, Brick, are you saying you love lamp just because you see a lamp? And he's like, I love lamp. And so this is my best way for me to describe like the difference between having gratitude and being in gratitude, right? Like, having gratitude is like, I love lamp. Like, I can like look around and I can say, I'm grateful for the fact that I have this computer, and I'm grateful for the sun shining, and I'm grateful for this podcast, and I'm grateful for this hat, and I'm grateful for my phone, and I'm grateful for my friends, like, it's kind of like, I love lamp. But when I can be in gratitude, it's a state of being. I literally can feel my entire body vibrating. I can feel this sense of like unbelievable, overwhelming joy and peace, and just wow, God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this. It's like this space where I'm just like, everything I see is bright colors, and everything I see is amazing, and everything that I see is perfectly aligned for my good. And it's just this like state of being. And I realize that everything is working out perfectly perfect, and it just feels differently from my gut, from my bones. It's just who I am in my being. That is like the skyrockets in flight. That is being in gratitude. And I got to tell you that the more that you can be in gratitude, the more things that you can be grateful for will start to show up in your life. This is where the law of assumption and the law of vibration intersect, where you can start to be in this state of appreciation where you are just massively and just overwhelmingly grateful for things, and more things to be grateful for just start flooding your perspective and your body and your mind and all the things. And it's like, oh my gosh. And that's when things start to 10x, when you start to have clients that are like your dreamiest clients just come into your sphere of influence. This is when you get invited to your friend's condo in Hawaii, and she's like, just get yourself here and it's covered. This is when you get invited to speak and end up at the beach again because it's your happy place, and everything starts to fall into line because you allow yourself to be in the state of gratitude. And the best way for me to say, because you're like, well, how did that happen, Lachelle? Like, what does that mean? I feel like in order to get yourself there, you really have to start with being able to say, I love lamp, right? Like you have to be able to find ways to call out things that you're grateful for, because in order for you to see them, you have to be aware of them, right? And our brain, because of our reticular activating system, the way that our brain works is that you are going to continue to see things that you're looking for. Just like if I said to you, all right, count the number of red cars you see on your way to work. And all of a sudden you're like, what the hell, Lachelle? Like there's red cars everywhere. That's your reticular activating system looking for them, because it has otherwise filtered all of that out. It's only going to look for things that are consistent with what you tell it to look for, or your beliefs that are underlying it. And so if you can start to force yourself to look for things to be grateful for, your brain is going to naturally start to look for them as well. So that's step number one. And step number two, I feel, is just you having to get out of your head and into your body and into your soul. This is where you allow prayer and meditation to take you to a place of just an overwhelming different sense of being. This is when it's almost like this out of body experience. This is almost just, it's just when you align your soul with the creators. You recognize that you and God are one, that you recognize the universal oneness. You recognize that you have within you all things that you need, because God is in you and you are in God. This is just you taking your being to the next level. And how you do that is set aside time for spiritual practicing, set aside time to pray, set aside time to thank God, and to allow yourself to sit in that gratitude in your prayer time. This is when this is when in my prayer time, I listen to my music. And I've mentioned this in a couple of different episodes of the podcast, but I have this really great tool where I can read 10 seconds of your voice, and I can tell you what your top 3 overexpressed emotions are and the one that you've been repressing. And then it gives you a prescription of music to listen to. This is part of my routine every day. Is I do a different voice analysis every single morning as part of my general morning routine. And then I listen to that prescription music as I am praying and as I'm meditating. And meditation and prayer to me means that I don't just think and I don't just ask for help. I listen. I'm being with God. And when you can be with the Lord, He drops ideas and answers and thoughts into your mind as downloads. But you cannot allow that to happen if you're constantly going, if you're constantly stuck in your logical brain, if you are, talking to Him and at Him in all of your prayer time, instead of allowing yourself to be quiet and listen to what He's trying to tell you in your spirit. I don't hear these auditory, like burning bush moments. I hear a knowingness in my spirit. And it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like it's a thought that just comes in out of nowhere. And then I use things like muscle testing or expansiveness restricted to say, God, is that you? And yes, it was. It's me. Just sometimes I'll in my spirit, I'll hear, Lachelle, you're loved. And it's my own voice, but it's like this different sense of, I wouldn't say that to myself. It was like I was being talked to. You can't get that if you don't quiet your mind. You don't get that unless you sit in silence with Him and open yourself up to receive what He's trying to tell you. And so I listen to my prescription of music and I thank Him and I ask for guidance, and then I listen. And that's my meditation time. And I'm able to be in gratitude. I also utilize imaging, visualization, executing the things I've learned about law of assumption, which is acting as if it's already here. So what do I expect that I will be grateful for? This is me in manifestation, being grateful for things even before I see them. This is executing the third step is knowing that it's on its way even before I see it. This is faith in action. and being in gratitude and thankful in thankful expectation of his promise. This is knowing that he will, not just that he can, right? And so if I can just allow myself to sit in that space and be in gratitude with him and what he's bringing me, I can utilize my visualization, which is something I do a lot with my retreat clients and my one-on-one clients as part of my own routine as well, is we record a voice recording of what our future life looks like in all aspects of it. So it's very well balanced. And then we listen to it every morning as part of our routine. And I imagine with all of my senses, it's playing out, and I visualize it and I experience it from smell, taste, touch, sound in my mind's eye. And am in gratitude for it. I'm in gratitude for the imagination that God has allowed me to use to have a vision of what he has for me. And I'm in gratitude for it. That's how you manifest sustainable 10K plus months. That's how you get back into peace and joy and flow. That's how you get out of overthinking and hustle for the sake of hustling and burnout. So utilize the power of gratitude this Thanksgiving week. What are you grateful for, and how can you be in a state of gratitude? All right. I hope that this helps you guys. So if you are super curious about this voice analysis, go ahead into the show notes and submit the request for one of these from me. In addition, I have a couple of different gifts for you. We have a 6-day experience, guided experience that you can utilize lots of different tools within this quantum space to help you to manifest sustainable 10K plus months. And we also have this amazing Burnout to Breakthrough Masterclass where I teach you this amongst other things to help you to get to where you want to go faster with way more fun, way more ease, way more flow. I want you to be able to experience everything that you are hoping for. I want you to be in gratitude for so much. And that masterclass is definitely going to help you get there faster because it's going to help you to discover what your blocks are that are preventing that from happening. So, all right, happy Thanksgiving week. I'm grateful for you. I am appreciation of you listening and spending time with me this week. And I'm excited to get to be here and spend some time with you next week. All right, you guys, until next time. So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to iam-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.